Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 33. It continues to be nuts for Dover in the National League, and today we are back for a big FA Cup tie too. However, we might not see this episode out. We continue to creep into this ever bizarre world, this alternative to last year where Kevin Wilkin now wants to flood our squad with defenders. He's trying to sign another one now even though we don't need it. And we've also got our first little bit of job interest. And that is the first interest not engaged by us. So if you're looking forward to seeing what should be an action-packed episode, whether there's any sign of us getting another job, or whether we're going to have to stick out the title race with Dover, please do put a thumbs up on the video. What a season it's been, what a title race it could be if we end up staying. If you want to stay up to date, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily FM22 content. Very contrasting fortunes in our one club story with Hemel Hempstead. You can check that one out in the eye above. It will be back tomorrow at 3:30. And it should be Cricket 22 content, the podcast channel and a Twitch channel for regular live streams in the eye above. But let's get cracking with the classic January stories from Dover Athletic, because early in the month there were a lot of bits of interest in some of our star players. Gideon Kadua and Matt Everett, two of them. Offers rejected so far up to £25,000. Accrington, a League One side. That's the level we're talking about here. I'd be very surprised if the Director of Football doesn't sell one by the end of the month. However, in the meantime, he's trying to use the rest of our wage budget. That on James De Bio from Oxford. Now, he's not a big step up. He's not an improvement on what we've got, I wouldn't say. But he's certainly a very good squad addition. You know that positioning is my favourite attribute in a centre-half. Seems like Kevin Wilkin knows it. And he is really trying to give us a squad to compete. And the more depth we can have if we're still here, the better it is for a title push. So that is the little bit of transfer news that may well be going on. Only a youngster that's left the club since the last episode. One of the under-18s, the many that were signed last season. If we have a look at the schedule though for what's been happening since you were last with me, it's largely a sea of green yet again. It's been ridiculous form in the grand scheme of things. We continued to back up that brilliant win against Walsall in the FA Cup with a 2-0 win at home to Chorley. The side we played on the opening day didn't put up much of a fight. We got to rest a lot of players and Adabomi and Kadua got the 2 goals for us there. A 4-0 win for a very rotated side in the FA Trophy against Hampton Waterlooville. James Bibbo came out of the youth team. Rare backup starts for Elam and Williams who both scored, and Dan Cowan opened the scoring too. A 5-1 win against high-flying Harrogate. 2 for Harvey Nibbs, 1 for Lucas Ness, Brandon Haynes and Johannes Hoffer. And Donovan Wilson, star from our FM20 Macclesfield save, was the man who got the consolation there. Against Salford, a 1-1 draw, Andy Appan sent off. Early own goal for Kadua, but we still nicked the point. Harvey Nibbs got the goal from the penalty spot, and we managed to cling on towards the end. Really good defensive performance. Into January, a 1-0 win at Oldham, Adabomi with an early second half goal. Stunning defensive display there. And then a comfortable 3-0 win against Eastleigh. A late red card came after the goals, but it was Andy Appan, Kadua and Nibbs who gave us a comfortable victory. So that leads us into this Leicester game in great form. Of course, Leicester are going to beat us. They're going to have a Premier League side out. What we've got to do is make sure it doesn't affect the confidence, and hopefully we can take advantage of the financial rewards. But it might not be us doing that, because if we go to our inbox and look at the last few days, we go back to about Monday, I think it was. Here we go. We had a little bit of media talk, and the question was, would we be open to discussing a deal with Cheltenham, as we've been suggested as one of the favourites? And we said yes, because Cheltenham are a mid-table side in League One, and dress it up whatever way you want, it's a professional club in the 3rd tier of English football. We'd be an absolute idiot not to be interested in that, and it'd be very unrealistic if we weren't. My worries would be if we got an interview, if we got that discussion, is what are their expectations? Because surely they're overachieving. I'm guessing their manager was poached. I might well be wrong here. Alan Dowson left his role to go to Barnsley. So yes, was poached. So this could be an interesting move for us. But no news really since then other than the fans saying that we're the leading candidate. Which is a lovely flattering sign of respect for the work we're doing here. But to be honest, unless the board say it, it doesn't really matter, does it? So we'll see what happens with the De Bio signing. We'll see if there's any news on that front. In fact, let's have a very quick look at the job centre. See what our odds are on it, if we're the favourite. We are 3-1 as well. That's pretty short odds compared to the rest of the jobs. So I reckon we might have a job interview in this episode. We'll wait and find out. For now though, we get to lead Dover in one of their biggest moments of their history, away to Leicester, Premier League opposition in the FA Cup. We got to the third round with a brilliant win against League One Walsall. You saw that on camera last time, but this one might be a step too far. They're expected to play players such as Danny Ward, the Welsh #1 in goal, Matty Cash, Youri Tielemans, Eze, Dele Alli, all in the squad. It is one hell of a team, even a backup team. And although it's not sold out, that was 17,500 fans expected. That surely gives us a bit of income. So let's go and pick our squad. We'll pick the strongest one possible. And we'll be back in a minute to run through our first 11. And with everyone coming back to fitness, I feel this really highlights the strength in our squad, because we've got the likes of McCarthy, who's not even in the 18 now. We've got the likes of starters from last year, Bramble, Cowan, Adabomi, all on the bench, Sweeney too. And then those extra additions this year to the squad, Williams, Noonan, Hoffa, really make us strong. Haynes has become the star man of the team. Whatever club I go to next, I want the director of football to sign this player, because, I'm sorry, he is not a National League footballer. 7 goals and 5 assists. In fact, 8 goals and 7 assists in all competitions from 22 starts. It's basically a goal contribution in 2 in every 3 games. It's a stunning effort. We've got a wonderful side. We're scoring goals. Our team for today is Hall between the sticks. Banks and Andy Appan the fullbacks, with Pakpe and Ness the centre-halves. We've got Hanson, McKenna and Haynes, the trusted midfield 3. And then Everett, Kadua and Nibs, who's the top scorer on 19 goals. Can we do anything to shock Leicester on the front foot? Or today, are we going to get a footballing lesson? Let's go and find out. Well, it is a very strong side. You can see they're resting everyone though. The likes of James Justin, Wilfred Ndidi, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, Odson Edward, all out of the team. And they are a bit weaker than they were. But for a second and third team, starting and on the bench, they're not bad at all. Let's go and get through the team talk. We are going to try a usual tactic of being positive, of pegging them back. But I've got a feeling we might get pushed back quite early on as they work down the left-hand side here into Gay. It took less than 4 minutes for Leicester to get ahead. Dele Alli with too much space on the ball. Gay in the box to head in. And to be honest, it was going to happen. I just hoped it didn't happen that early. 17,500 confirmed as the attendance. So we've just got to try and keep the score down here and take our payday. We've dropped to balanced immediately. And hopefully that will slow things down as Frabotta throws in from the left to Dele Alli. 1-2 delivered into Gay. Good header by Pakpe. Be nice to nick a goal on the break as well, but that looks unlikely at the minute as Habib Gay is offside this time. But again, finds himself in 3 or 4 yards of space in the box. It's that difference when you get to professional level, that movement. Those players who have got a little bit of space. We go to VAR, the goal is disallowed. And although Gay made space for himself, it stays 1-0. Goal disallowed, and they've still only had the 1 shot on target. As we get a free kick in a pretty dangerous position here. This would be a turn up for the books from Matt Everett. Oh, he's hit the bar. Oh, it was so close. That would have been an incredible moment for Dover Athletic. Instead, is eventually behind for a corner, which Everett takes again. Outswinger towards Lucas Ness. I don't think our physical advantage will be quite so big here. Haynes chips out to Everett though. We're still attacking. It's blocked by the cross and it's cleared away by Leicester. Matty Cash brings it downfield. We're having a go though. We're not too bad in this tie. And with half an hour gone, 1-0. And we've restricted them to 2 shots on target. It's a very good effort. As Hall takes a long kick, goes to halfway. McKenna loses out in the air. It falls for Dele Alli. Tielemans dropping into that playmaker role. Finds Vegas, the centre-half. I think we had him at Southampton in the head coach last year, Vegas, if I remember rightly. Out to Frabotta on the left-hand side. In towards Gay again. Nobody capable of marking him. He's a master of creating himself space, and that is Premier League movement. We just can't compete with it. Habib Gay 2. Dover Athletic 0. But if it makes us feel any better, he's a pretty good striker, isn't he? 23 grand a week. Even as their backup, he's very good. And he scored goals galore across Europe. No surprise he's adding to that here. As we're 5 minutes to half time, we've got a goal kick again. Gotta say, they're pressing us high to force us long. And Hall's kicks have not got the distance on them. As they go over the top to Gay again. He's on a hat-trick. He's going to deflect his shot off the bar. And Hall's going to get there. I tell you what, I know it has worked out for large parts of this game. But I'm going to have to drop that defensive line because it's getting a little bit scary now. 2-0, we're going to start tiring. But this is about the best we could have hoped for at half-time. And that is the score. Still only 5 shots on target for Leicester. We've had a couple ourselves. Hit the woodwork, had one more great chance. It's not like we're not in the game at all. Considering there's 4 divisions between us, we're actually competing quite nicely. What we've got to do at the hour mark is decide, do we want to really push this game and keep the score down, or do we want to rest people for midweek? And I think we know what the answer is going to be. I'm going to take off a tired Matt Everett for Ola Adebomi. Everett's going to be key to us on Tuesday night. Stevenage, a big game, don't forget, in the National League. We're also going to take off Andy Yappan at left back. He'll be replaced by Sweeney. Great servant last year, deserves his chance on the pitch. And I think in midfield, I'm going to take off Haynes. He's so important to what we do. TJ Bramble will come on, and that'll be our last half an hour. I know we couldn't get Cowan on as well, but lovely to give a reward for 3 of our stars from last year. Although I've got to be honest, we've got to nearly the last 10 minutes now, and there's not really been a threat on our goal. I know they're going to score 1 or 2 on the counter late on. It might be 3 or 4, but it's not going to be that real absolute hammering we were thinking of. As Dele Alli rounds the keeper, that's a great block. Pakpe back in. Dele maybe a little bit arrogant, complacent there. Thought he'd rounded the keeper and the work was done. Excellent, hearty defending. And he worked his backside off to the last second. The corner is a free header, but it's headed off the line by Banks. We're clinging on for 2 at the minute. Vegas chips it to the back post. Sweeney heads away, but the danger isn't over. It's all Leicester City. We're going to drop to cautious. I'd like to keep it 2. I think that would be a reflection of the effort we've put in. Well, there we go. That's no shame at all, is it? Leicester City 2, Dover Athletic 0. We did ourselves proud. We kept the confidence high. A 5 or 6, and I started to think, is that going to affect us later in the month? At the moment, the answer is no. We'll see how that's affected the finances in a minute. We'll be back to face Stevenage as our attention turns back to the National League title race. Back to face Stevenage then. First away at 7th. This is no gimmick. Only 16 points between us because, to be fair, below the top 3, that little bunch below has tightened up a little bit now. So it's going to be a tough one. We've heard nothing on the Cheltenham front. Just going to have a quick look at the job centre again. We are... Where are we? Let's have a look for Cheltenham. We're still the favourite, but the odds are going out slightly, and we've heard nothing of it. So we have to assume we're not going to get it. What I do want to show you is the finances, because it's just nuts. To give you a little bit of perspective of what an FA Cup tie can do in real life for a football team. Our gate receipts for this month, if you include what's happened with the 1 game in the league and that Leicester tie, is now 1.5 times higher than the whole of last season. And it is over half of our intake for this season so far, despite moving up to the higher league. It's an astounding number, really. 321 grand. The income from that Leicester tie has basically been a year's income in terms of gate receipts. So a fantastic position for Dover, who only a few years ago had financial troubles. No more loans and well into the black financially. That's all you can ask for. Let's get through the team selection though. We're going to take a similar approach here against Stevenage. We've got an FA Cup tie at the weekend and then the bottom side in the league next Tuesday. So the way I'm feeling at the moment, if there are people like Ness, like Pakpe, who are close to fitness, we're going to risk them and we'll rest them the next 1 or 2. There will still be a couple that are nowhere near, as you can see, who will need to be taken out though. So we'll be back in a minute to run through the lineup. So nothing too mad for me, just a couple of changes. You can see TJ Bramble and Ola Adebomi have both come in. Nibs drops to the bench, McKenna getting a complete rest. But let's go and get into it. Stevenage away, local one for me from Luton, only a few miles down the road. Let's see if those 2 changes make a big difference or if we can continue our good league form. Of course, you've seen in a couple of the previous episodes this season, when we've played away to brilliant teams like Crawley with our reserves, Notts County right at the start of the season, we've bounced back really quickly. It's not affected confidence. Now, Leicester as a Premier League team should have felt like a free swing, but you never know. You never know with momentum in FM. We're still clear at the top though. 12 minutes has been comfortable, and anything other than a defeat, I start to take it here. Problems with injuries early doors. I'm going to get to the half an hour mark just so Cowan's fit for the next week as well. But he's going to come on for Lewis Banks, who's got a slight problem with his calf. And that means he's going to have to play 60 minutes as well as the weekend. Not ideal by any means. And it does mean one of those players who was fitter at the start of the game isn't going to be fit for this. Though we've got a chance right at the end of the first half. And in a game where we've seen nothing, where we've offered very little on the stats as well. Ola Adebomi, last minute set piece, and having a team of players that is virtually all over 6 foot can do that. It means in a game where you do have an off night, where you're a little bit fatigued, where you haven't got a lot of quality and tempo in your passing from open play, you can just nick a goal. Everett sets it up, great delivery as always. Adebomi, the sub striker, heads in. And compared to last season, what a sub to have. Let's get into the second half. And more injury problems. Is this the start of a tricky spell for us? Because I was just planning my other two subs, which were going to be Hansen and Kadua, and we're going to lose one of those now. So, Andy Appan, if that's a bad knock, he is still officially the best player at the club. Suggesting a foot injury. Let's hope it's just a bruise, a stub toe, something silly, but I highly doubt it will be. I'm going to save the last sub 10 more minutes just because we've lost so many players today. And if we can't come out of here with a little 1-0 now, it might feel like a defeat. We've got 12 minutes to go. Kadua looks worse than Hansen, so on comes Johannes Hoffer. Gives us pace on the break, gives us youth, exuberance, and a little bit of confidence. Let's see if it works out. 10 to go. We concede late goals a lot, and here is a Stevenage corner kick into the back post. And Matthew Hall not got the reflexes. Sam Dreyer, where do I recognise that name from? I think we had him at Hemel Hempstead in our one club story on loan. Didn't play much, but a very decent defender. And not what we wanted at this stage. Let's drop back to balanced. Let's just try and hold on for the draw here. We don't want to go too far. We don't want to go too aggressive. We just want to come out of here unscathed. The unbeaten run in the league continues. It's a very good point. We played all right, but injuries are a big concern. Maybe Cheltenham will get us out at the right time. Let's go and see the prognosis. Well, no injury news on Banks, which is great. 3 to 4 weeks, though, for Andy Appan, the star defender. That is a concern. Of course, Sweeney was our first choice last year. He's an adequate replacement. Cowan's still there. We can switch Banks over. But he's not ideal. Certainly not perfect. Sam Dreyer is the man who scores the goal. Very good defender, good jumping reach. Probably one of the few that could outjump our defence. But we are now starting to get the fitness concerns despite the unbeaten run. And we're going to have to rely on a few new heroes or a few different heroes through the rest of this month. So of course, we will plan when we're next going to be back, which should be in around 6 weeks' time or so. But the truth of the matter is, it's going to be dictated by whether Cheltenham come in, because we could be back very quickly for a new club, for a debut with them, for a transfer deadline day with them. But at the moment, we've heard no news. So despite being a heavy favourite, all of the media talk about it, nothing concrete in place. Now, if we have a look at the table, we do play Notts County, our closest challengers, in just a month or so's time. There's not really many fixtures between now and there, just the 5. Stockport are home as well, a side expected to be up there. But there are a few big ones towards the end of the year too. So we'll play it by ear. We're not going to commit to a certain date because there's every chance Cheltenham will come in based on the amount of speculation there's been. But I think Notts County will be the game if that's not the case. So a decent episode still. We did well against Leicester to restrict them to 2. And we keep the unbeaten run in the league going. Which means with 28 games gone, we are top. And we've still only lost 3 matches. If you did enjoy this episode, that great FA Cup tie, a money spinner for Dover Athletic, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you think if we can get that defensive addition in. We could even push Pakpe out to left back, which would give us even more options. Maybe it's the perfect time for a director of football to sign. Let me know what you think of the job speculation surrounding our future too. Will we get an interview? Will we get a job offer? Have you been in that position before without anything happening? And subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily FM22 content. If you're getting a little bit too frustrated seeing me succeed here, then do come and join us with Hemel Hempstead tomorrow. It's going to be a very different type of episode, that one. Let me promise you that for sure. You can catch up with a playlist including that, the Cricket 22 series and everything else in the eye above. But a big thank you for watching. Your continued support as always. It is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you next time for big action from Dover Athletic or a job offer from Cheltenham Town. Which will it be? We'll see you next time to find out.